Joe Pardavila. This is the Forbes Books Podcast, and today we're talking travel. The tourism industry lost an estimated $1.3 trillion in export revenue in 2020. The pandemic forced airlines, restaurants, attractions, and even entire countries to shut down. So how are things looking for the upcoming holiday travel season, 2022 and beyond? Thanks to the wonders of technology, I'm connecting with the Caribbean and joined by the communication and market manager of the St. Martin Tourist Office, Ricardo Bethel, and nightlife and hospitality expert, Arthur Sutley. Ricardo, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having us.
And Arthur, long time no see. How you been?
I know. Good to talk to you again.
Well, let's start with you, Arthur, because of the fact that I'm reading all these headlines. I'm sure you are too, being in the hospitality, entertainment space, but Thanksgiving air travel set to outpace pre-pandemic levels. Is it safe to assume that tourism, hospitality, it's back, baby?
I think we are going in that direction for sure. I think people have been pent up long enough, and I think with everything coming out with the vaccines, people are feeling more comfortable to get out and make up for lost time. So that's kind of why I'm sitting here in the beautiful island of St. Martin.
And talk to me about traveling. I have not been in a plane in over a couple of years. I'm sure a lot of people have not been either. I know you are in the opposite spectrum. You're getting around. You're obviously in St. Martin. So what's it like traveling? I mean, we hear the horror stories of people getting into altercations on planes, but what has the experience been like for you to travel and, traveling now to St. Martin?
So I've been extensively traveling this whole year. Actually, before I was in St. Martin, I actually flew from California back to New York and then 10 hours later flew here. So I'm jumping flights every week. And I've had nothing but great experiences. I really haven't seen what I've read on the news or seen on the news. I've had pleasant experiences. I feel like everybody is doing the right protocol in order to get on the plane, feel safe. I surely feel safe. I'm like back in my normal travel groove. I'm like in and out every week.
Awesome. And Ricardo, talk us through the last couple of years for St. Martin. If you can, I mean, not that we want to remember back to the beginning of the pandemic, but talk to me about how St. Martin handled the pandemic initially and what it's like looking now.
Well, initially, of course, we were devastated like a lot of other countries, with the pandemic, everything just stopped. I could say that we're blessed that we're living on an island, so we didn't live the same experience as most people in big countries. And we've never really felt that we were shut down. We've always been open, St. Martin. We've always been welcoming tourists that were able to come. So I think that the island has been ready for the past 3 years. We were hit in 2017 by a massive hurricane. And I think we're ready now to welcome clients and welcome the U.S. clients mainly, which is our primary market, back to this beautiful destination and show them what being back to normal life is.
And Ricky, for folks who have never been to St. Martin or maybe are going back, is there anything different in terms of now here in this, I like to say, post-pandemic world, even though, COVID is still around, but is it basically the same people traveling from the States to St. Martin in terms of lines, number of people waiting to go into a restaurant or stuff like that? What's it like now as a vacationer to go to St. Martin?
A vacationer, the hardest thing I would say is just filling out the form online, which is the EHAS St. Martin government form. For fully vaccinated people, you won't require any PCR test or antigen test, rapid test to come into the island. If you're fully vaccinated, the only thing that you'll need is your vaccination card. You fill it up, all the documents, and you'll be pre-approved to enter into the island. Once you're here, it's pretty easy. It's like before. The restaurants were pretty much open. You just need a reservations. You go in. So for us, life is back to normal at 100%. Our COVID cases numbers are very, very low. So we have more than enough flights back to the island, even more than we had prior to the pandemic and prior to the massive hurricanes. So we have flights for new cities from the U.S. such as Texas, MCO, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale with airlines like Spirit, Frontiers. JetBlue now is serving us out of EWR, which is Newark. So just from New York, we have flights from Boston, JFK, Newark with United, JetBlue, Delta, American Airlines. So we're very much ready and we're back to normal.
Excellent. And Arthur, and don't take this in a bad way, but you get around. What is it? what is it about St. Martin that keeps drawing you to the island?
I mean, I've been coming here for 10 years. I actually met Ricky on my first trip here, and he became a friend really fast. And being with the tourism board, he really showed me some truly amazing beaches that they have on the French side. Nothing like I had seen before, and mixed with the culture and the food and beverage, it became a really relaxing destination for me, an easy destination, right? It's very manageable. It's a Caribbean island that anybody can come here, and as soon as you land, you feel like you have a handle on all the places you should be going. And I think that's something special for the U.S. traveler, is to not really have to think about a big plan to get there. You can kind of pick the beaches you want to hit. You could rent a car. You could rent a villa. You could end up being in a hotel. You name it. They're all good options.
Awesome. And Ricardo, I'm not going to try to say this in French, but you guys are in the middle of a big food celebration. So if you don't mind telling me what it is and what's going on there through November 30th.
Well, we actually decided to organize a culinary festival. We're basically trying to highlight the culinary experience. When people choose destinations to travel to, food is something that's very important, at least to us, the French people. We have beautiful restaurants here with great French cuisine, with a mixture of the Caribbean flavor. So for us, highlighting that and showing that the culinary experience on this island will be one of the best that you'll ever have in one of the Caribbean islands was very important to us. So we actually chose a number of reputable chefs from the US, but also Europe, to visit us, with a lot of influencers and publications that are here to write about the event, and hopefully to show the visitors that, yeah, we're open. There's a different step now. You're going to have a great experience in the cuisine. The nightlife is there back again. So I think that, feeling like you have a normal life again is very important, but also remembering that safety is still very important to us. So we still want people to know that being vaccinated is very important to us. If you're not vaccinated, we'll welcome you with a PCR test. To go into certain areas, you will have to show that you've been, vaccinated, or you've done a test within 48 hours. But the island is open. It's beautiful. The beach bars are open. We just had a beautiful lunch art today at Anse Marcel Beach, which was one of the top restaurants voted in 2019. So we're very happy that things are back to normal on this island.
That's fantastic. And you still didn't give me the title of the thing because I was afraid to say it. So is it La Festival de la Gastronomie of St. Martin? How did I do there?
That very good.
Very good, man. Very good, Joe.
All right, well, can you say it, Ricardo, the right way of saying it?
Le Festival de la Gastronomie de Saint Martin.
Yeah, mine didn't sound anything like that, Ricky. I don't know what you're talking about. You're just too sweet. And so, Art, talk to me about St. Martin compared to other islands. I've never been there. I know you've been there multiple times. What's a differentiator? What sets it apart from other islands that people can go to on vacation?
One of the interesting things is you're gonna land on the Dutch side, and then you're gonna make your way to the French side, and that's kind of a really interesting dynamic, right? The island is split in two. I spend all my time on the French side. I really love the beaches, the restaurants as well, and really it's kind of the culture, it's the people. Like I said, first trip I ever came, I met Ricardo and never looked back, and it seems that everybody is just so nice and makes it easy for you to navigate this island. And I think that's a key proponent, right? Like when you go away, you don't want to feel like oh my God, we're going to get lost. How am I going to find this restaurant? How am I going to find this beach? There's just great signage. There's great people that always direct you. And then once you get to that destination, every beach has a very beautiful restaurant right behind it. And I think that's a really amazing factor, right? You can sit on the beach, you can walk behind you, have lunch, go back to the beach, go into the ocean. They kind of set it up where once you get to this beautiful view of the water, you can spend the entire day there very easily and truly disconnect. And Joe, I think you and I both know that for U.S. travelers and people in the U.S., it's hard for us to disconnect. We're always working, we're always with our family, we're moving, and this place makes it very, very easy to kick back and just shut it down for a little bit.
That's fantastic. Love to hear that. And Art, when I speak to people in the hospitality industry, I always say, the food's important. Like, the food has to be good, but nobody remembers the food. They remember the service.
Yes.
I mean, whether it's a 5-star restaurant in New York or whether you're going to a beautiful island in the middle of the Atlantic, what is the service like there in St. Martin?
It's the perfect balance. And I love to talk about this because when you're here, you want to relax. So they move the meal at a very relaxed pace where it's not too long, but not too short, because you're staring at this beautiful ocean on the beach. You're not hurried out of there. You can really sit back and relax, get a bottle of rosé, enjoy a really amazing meal, and they are the nicest people coming to your table. They check on our table all the time. It really turns into a really beautiful experience for people coming to the island. So the service is top notch. We've had the chefs come out, and this is prior to this event. We've always had the chefs come out to the table to ask how everything was. I mean, that just goes to show you the passion that they have for not only the food, but for hospitality as a whole. You know, the service, the cocktails, the bartenders like excited about making your drinks. That just makes your trip a whole lot better when the people serving you are as happy as you are.
And Ricardo, you mentioned the hurricane. You're born and raised there in St. Martin. Talk to me about what the island has been through. On top of that, throw on a global pandemic, but being able to survive a horrible hurricane like Irma and where you are today. Talk to me from an islander's perspective.
Well, hurricanes are something that we're used to. We've had a bad one in '95, which was Hurricane Lewis. So after Irma, everyone was very like, okay, it's time to clean up. It's time to rebuild. And you know what? Sometimes it's a blessing from the skies to know that you could rebuild in a stronger way. Things are going to be totally renovated. So we see things in a positive way. On this island, we're not people are like, okay, we're not going to cry about stuff that's already passed. We just look towards the future. So how could we rebuild stronger? How we could make sure that our infrastructure is better suited for, the hurricane disasters that's only going to be stronger from now on. So I think we're very resilient people. And look, after 4 years, things are back to normal. And there's certain places in the Caribbean that are still suffering and still trying to be rebuilt. And we're ready to welcome people. So I'm very proud of the St. Martin people, but also the Caribbean region, because it's not an easy region to be in, but we're still very competitive, and we're happy to be back up and running.
And Ricky, do you take it for granted that you live on such in paradise? Because I know as a New Yorker, we take for granted that we're living and working in the greatest city in the world. But do you ever sometimes have to stop and be like, hold on a second, I'm living in paradise here. I can't forget where I'm living here.
No, I enjoy this island every single day. I live on a beach, so in the morning I go for my swim. At night I look at my nice sunset with a glass of rosé, as Art said just now. That's my favorite drink. The Pamplon, I love a bottle of Pamplon at night, so I'm very, very happy, and I'm very proud to be living on this beautiful island. And I'm very happy to welcome people and share with people like Art that I've met, in one of my first rentals that he stayed with me. So, this island is blessed to have repeat guests. So that's something that we know how to do is how to get people back to this island. We're known to be the friendly island of the Caribbean. We have over 140 different nationalities that's residing here. Something special about this place that, first of all, it's divided into two countries. On the northern side, it's French. The southern side is Dutch. It already tells you everything. How could two countries with no physical border get to live in perfect harmony for all of these years? So that just says it from the beginning. We're a friendly island, and we just want to welcome people and make your experience to be the most magical as it could be.
So I would like to second the fact this man is never taken for granted living on this island, because every time I come here, whether it's for 5 days, 2 weeks, this man has a great day every day, and it makes me envy that and want to live on this island, because I would love to smile and be happy every single day.
And Ricky, when did you guys embrace social media? Because I feel like St. Martin is like the ultimate Instagram island. Any picture you take there is not a bad photo. So talk to me about your relationship with social media.
Well, it's very important. That's a new trend in marketing. So you have to be able to, highlight the beautiful places that you have. So we have a lot of different options now with street art, which is very important to us on the island. So we've had a lot of numerous artists. Art and Monahan PR firm brought us a great person, which I hope Art will talk to you about in a little while. It's so many different aspects. You go to the beautiful restaurant on the beach. You could have a beautiful moment there. You could be at a very gourmet restaurant looking over a sunset. You could have that. You could go zip line in the hilltops. You could also have that. You could have a great picture on a jet ski. You could rent a yacht for the day. You could have a great gourmet catamaran sailing that we're going to be doing the next 2 days. Also, you could get great experiences like this island. You don't have to stay in St. Martin for the whole day. You want a different scenery, you go to St. Bart's. It's just 40 minutes away by boat. You could have the best shopping with Prada, Louis Vuitton. It's a day excursion. You come back to the island, enjoy the great nightlife there. If you want to go to one of the top 10 beaches in the Caribbean, you could just hop over on a 20-minute ferry ride to Anguilla. So there's so much that you could do. You want to go diving, you could either go to Sabre for that. You want to enjoy the day on a relaxing beach where there's no one, you go to Tintamar Island. So this island, there's never a dull moment. Every single day there's something to do, something different from morning to night. So it's a perfect destination.
We've actually brought in Hectad, who's a famed U.S., especially in the New York City area, street artist. Since street art has taken such a position on the island now where they're doing these beautiful murals so that people can also take pictures. We brought him in. He's actually doing 2 walls. I believe he's going to be doing a 3rd one during this week. And we're connecting New York to St. Martin. And Hectad uses a lot of hearts. So there's a lot of love on this island. So we really felt he was the perfect fit, especially being based in New York too. A lot of the flights and people who come to St. Martin come out of JFK or Newark. So we thought it was just an overall great connection to bring somebody from the U.S. and let them put their stamp on the island. And it's gorgeous. The pictures I've seen so far, I haven't seen them in person because there will be a really big unveiling, have looked gorgeous. And they will be highly Instagrammable locations.
That's fantastic. And Ricky, talk to me about shopping because I'm confident enough in my own self to say I love to go shopping when I'm on vacation. and I know that on the Dutch side, they have that famous front street. Talk to me about shopping on the French side of St. Martin.
So the island's pretty well known for luxury jewelry shopping. You have the name brands like Chopard, Hermes, Breitling, Rolex. So you have some of the great shoppings and name brands on the island. We haven't lost that either. I would say that it's coming back. Marigot, which is in the French capital, there's more and more nice small boutiques that are opening up. You feel like you're in one of the Parisian streets. So shopping is something that's very, very important to us. French people, we love shopping. We love to look good every single day. It's important to wake up in the morning, look at yourself and say that you look beautiful and be confident in yourself. So, it's for us, it's important. And for Americans, we know it's important to go shopping. So that's a big, big highlight to look good for sure.
That's great. And Art, talk to me about the island in terms of folks that can go there, because I know some of these islands have a bit of an air of like, oh no, this is where like Britney Spears will go on vacation, or this is an island that's a little trashy. So talk to me about in terms of like who can go to St. Martin.
That's the beauty of it, right? While there's all this luxury and there's huge I have taken the path of renting homes and I've stayed in some hotels, but I choose to either rent villas or, some of the houses on the beach. They're very approachable. And I think that's what's exciting. Like flights are totally approachable on price. Renting a car, totally reasonable. They have an array of different villas on the island that you can get from 3-bedroom to all the way up to 6-bedroom, 7-bedroom. So really there's a little bit of everything for somebody here. For 10 years, I've been coming here, and sometimes I come here with a group and they want to be a little bit more lavish. And other years, I've had groups that maybe want to keep it a little bit tighter because as their families are growing and they have more and more kids, it's tough for them to sneak away and their expense has changed. And we come and we do a different type of trip, but the scenery doesn't change. We're still on these beautiful beaches. We're still, taking a different type of boat. We're still going to a different type of nightlife. I mean, there really is something on all ends of the spectrum, but you don't feel like you're sacrificing. And I think that's the coolest thing, Joe. Like you can come here on a budget and feel like you had an amazing trip. You can come here if you want to maybe celebrate something like an anniversary, or if you want to come for a honeymoon and spend a little bit more lavishly because it's a very special occasion. They're able to accommodate that as well. And I think that's a double threat. It's an island for everybody.
And Ricky, you mentioned ziplining there before, and talk to me about Lottery Farm, if I've pronounced it correctly. Don't they have like a big ziplining experience there?
He always pronounces it better than all of us, Joe. So I'll let him pronounce it as well.
Yeah, Lottery Farm is a great project that is curated by Mr. BJ. The zipline is one of the best experiences. I've done it on numerous occasions. It's been a very challenging course. It's about 2 hours, but the zip lining there is beautiful. There's a second one called the Rainforest Adventure on the Dutch side of the island that I think is one of the steepest in the Caribbean. So it's 60 seconds of total fun and adrenaline, as we say in French. So that's a great experience that you have on either the Lottery Farm, where you're really swinging in the trees, or either the Rainforest Adventure, where it's just 60 seconds straight down to the bottom.
And, it's funny, Ricky, as Americans, we have sort of this, I don't know if it's because of the movies or pop culture, we're like, French people treat Americans like crap. It's like you go to France and they treat like, are you going to be nice to us when we go there, Ricky?
I mean, we live from tourism and we're French, but we're still influenced by a lot of the American culture. Like most people on this island speak English. I mean, you pay something, you'll get your change back in US dollars if you give a US dollar. Our main currency is the euros, but all prices you'll find in US dollars. You'll feel totally at home. People will speak to you in English or Spanish or French, Dutch, German, whichever language. You'll find someone that will be able to accommodate you and make you feel at home. So you'll get the best service, the best hospitality, from any one of the St. Martiners or the people that have adopted this island as their own. So I don't think Americans or anyone should be afraid that they'll be snubbed by any French person. On the contrary, we're going to welcome you.
Good. I love that. And Art, the recurring theme here is how often you've been there. Is it a thing where people go to St. Martin to vacation and be like, I think I'm just going to live here. I'm going to buy a house here. Is that pretty normal there?
Yes, because I've actually met quite a few and still friends with people that are like, explain to me how they came here and then maybe went back home and had that itch to make a big change. I think what you were talking about before, everyone is just so friendly on the island. I mean, I know sometimes people, when I say that, they say, well, listen, you're out in the hospitality industry, so they know that you're part of the U.S. hospitality education, so they probably come to your table more. That's not true, because I have sent people here without telling them they're my friends, and they just recommended them as trips, and they've come back with the same exact stories and feelings that I did. And I think that's so important, because it doesn't matter if they know who you are or don't know who you are, the way they treat you is the same. You are somebody here for an experience, and they don't stop until you get that experience. And they want you to have that. So I think from the Caribbean side, they are, like I said, Ricky's always smiling. He's the happiest man I've ever met. And he's like that with everybody. And that's just who he is. He's not putting on a face. That's just part of this culture.
That's great. And, Art, I've spoken to you many times, and it's no big deal getting you on a podcast, but to get Ricardo on, from what I understand, Ricky, you're like a big celebrity there in St. Martin. So thank you very much for taking the time. When you walk around the streets, are people like, Ricky, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm going to answer that. That's 100% yes. I go out with this person, 50 people shaking his hand, waving to him, doing a little dance when he walks by. That is 100% true, Joe.
And so, Ricky, how did that happen? How did you become like the biggest celebrity in St. Martin?
Well, I went to college in Europe, and with 6 of my buddies, we came on a very lazy internship for our last year. We're like, guys, this is the last year of freedom. So we're just going to come to my island and relax. And we started doing some charity work, getting some kids from Europe to come into different companies here. And the Minister of Tourism at that point, her name was Ida Zincayo, called me in to a meeting. And I thought she just wanted the normal meeting. So I came in my bathing suit, and she hired me on the spot. And ever since, I've been at that office and haven't moved. But it's important to know that, to show people that you're nice, always smiling, and staying true to yourself. So by doing that, a lot of people have gravitated towards, the person that I am. I'm not going to change because you're a multimillionaire or you're the garbage guy or whatever. For me, everyone's important and everyone has to be treated equally. And if you're a client that comes to the island, no matter where you come from, your background or whatever, you have to be treated with total respect and with the decency of enjoying your vacation. So that's what we do here on this island. We treat people like they're royalty, no matter where you come from, your background, and you'll have the best time.
Well, you're a very humble man. Like I said, I appreciate you taking the time to, step away from your fans and probably your influencer work that you do there. Yeah. Art, I could get him on the podcast anytime, but Ricardo, thank you very much for joining me today. He's Ricardo Bethel, the St. Martin Tourist Office Communication and Market Manager, and Arthur Sutley, who I talk all the time. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, he's a nightlife and hospitality expert. Arthur, thank you very much for once again joining me on the podcast.
Oh, Joe, it's awesome. Always good to talk to you.
And Ricky, it was great meeting you on the podcast, and I cannot wait to visit St. Martin.
Well, whenever you're ready, I'm the guy to contact, and I'll be more than happy to show you a great time around. Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome, guys, and that's it for this episode of the Forbes Books Podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure you take a second to subscribe so you automatically get my new shows when they drop. Also, if you have a minute, I'd love if you left us a review so more amazing entrepreneurs like yourself can discover the show. And please, don't forget the golden rule and treat others as you want to be treated. Thanks for listening. Until next time, adios.
This has been a production of Forbes Books Radio. Find out more at ForbesBooksRadio.com.